Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Bank of the West is offering the 1% for the Planet checking account. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. There's no monthly service charge with any deposit per statement, and there's no minimum balance required. The 1% for the Planet checking account, only from Bank of the West. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
The Bachelorette
and friends.
From first love to happy ever after.
What's that?
From dating to dick pics.
Oh my.
Oh no! The Bachelorette and friends. Oh, I love a good dick. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Bachelorette and Friends. I'm Carla Anita Matiazzo, and to my left is the gorgeous Lainey Jameson. What's up?
Oh, thanks, Gorgie. I'm loving hanging with my girl, Carla.
Today's guest is Nova's weather girl, Taylee Jones. She's 29. Almost 30, and found herself to be single this year for more or less the first time since she was 16. She was about to enter the dating scene, and then Corona hit. Welcome, Taylee.
It's so dramatic. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What's going on, baby? Nice to see you. Haven't seen you in ages.
It has been a very, very long time since I've seen you. Years.
Yeah, I would say so. So,
yeah.
Really, fill everybody in on how we met and who we met.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to think, like, if we go right back. I know it's through theatre stuff. Like
I think it was through Sophie.
Was it through Soph? Yeah, like mutual friend. Well, if it was either that or like at an audition for something, it would have been. But probably through Sophie, I think.
Yeah. I reckon. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say something like that, like La Boheme, when that was a
thing,
when that was a bar, when that was a thing still, maybe.
Yeah, probably. So that goes back at least
R.I.P.
a decade, Taylee. That goes back at least a decade.
That makes me feel really old. I did not think it would have been that long. Ugh. Yeah, but it probably is. Jeepers.
Yeah, I think it is. So to bring the listeners up to speed, this podcast is based on the premise of my award-winning cabaret show, The Bachelorette. There's Always a Catch, where I talk and sing about first love to what I thought was happy ever after and everything in between. So let's start there, Taylee. Can you tell us about your first crush?
My first crush? Oh, well, like other than, I mean, my very first crush would have been like Aladdin or something. I'm pretty sure I was obsessed. I absolutely loved him. I know. I used to on my birthday cake every year, I would wish to be Princess Jasmine. Never happened because I was so in love with Aladdin. So I feel like that was maybe not even a crush. That was real love.
That was my love, baby.
But then otherwise, I reckon in primary school, I remember a guy, his name was Christopher, and I had a little bit of a crush, and then one day he bought me a little woven bracelet, like one of those friendship bracelets, and it was in the colours of like Port Adelaide footy team. And so from that day on, I barracked for Port Adelaide. Like I made my mind up that day. Like I am a power supporter through and through.
Oh, that's cute. What happened from there? Did anything happen from that Port Power infused bracelet?
All I remember, I don't think it did, because all I remember was that at some point, bear in mind we were about like 7 years old, but he then started dating my best friend.
Oh,
like
what
they
a
were
dick.
in disco and danced together, and I was not happy about it.
Oh no! Did you stay friends with this girl as well?
What a player! I did for many years, yeah, but we've since lost touch. I don't know what happened to Christopher, if he's still on the scene in any way. I'd say probably not. But I wish them both happiness if they are together. after the age of 7.
Yeah. So from there, from first crush, I like to say that first relationships in high school are kind of like training wheels on a bike. You learn what you like, your boundaries and whatnot. So from the crush, when was your first, training wheel relationship? Because sounds like you got into one pretty early, chicken.
Yeah, I definitely did. I had I reckon late high school, there were definitely those sort of crushes and a couple of people that you'd go to a house party and you would kiss the same person each time, but it would never actually kind of eventuate into anything. Whole other story there. Apparently I was there was a rumor that I was a terrible kisser. I'm sure it was actually true, but
I don't believe
it was
that.
Awful. It went around. Oh no, I think it was. My boyfriend later on told me it was true. He was like, I promise you've improved. But no, I think I was a horrible kisser and the whole school found out. Anyway,
awesome.
So there was that. But then, when I was probably, I guess I would have been 16, in year 11 at school. Someone that I was very good friends with for probably 6 months. He became my close friend at school. I moved schools, became good buddies with him. And then probably 6 months in, we started dating, I guess, and he became, my first boyfriend. And I ended up being with him for about, I don't know, a bit over 4 years.
Wow,
I think.
Wow.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years it might have been.
Sorry, go ahead, Taylee, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so I didn't I never would have thought that would have been the way things had gone. I was always so I'll probably maybe I'll get married, but I'm going to be a career woman, this and that.
Yes.
And then it's no, I'm going to settle at the age of 16.
So that is an interesting time period in your life, 16 and then 4+ years after that being with the same person. There's some real formative things happening there, just adolescence and young adult wise. How do you think you guys evolved and worked together in those formative years throughout your 4-year relationship?
Surprisingly pretty well.
Yeah, right.
We were probably fairly lucky in that those first couple of years, there wasn't a whole lot of hardship. You're navigating, I suppose, the first experiences and such in relationships. So, but that's generally, hopefully for most people, fairly light and fairly fun, and it's all good. Yes. And maybe a few years in, there was a bit of nothing too serious, but I remember his dad had a bit of a health scare, and that was the first time we really had a thing that really affected us in any sort of way and sort of affected the relationship in any way. But it was just good. It brought us, as in for us, it definitely brought us closer at the time. And kind of, I suppose, made us, brought us, we were already close families, but brings the families a bit closer together, that sort of thing as well. And then I'd say, in those final sort of 12 months that we were together, I'd say we were still very close and same sort of friends and some similar interests, but we were at uni at that point and meeting new people, starting to find different interests, and definitely other people started coming into the mix on both accounts, I would say. And there's certain sort of, you're spending a lot of time with the uni people, and every now and then there will be a bit of a temptation there, and you're with the same person you've been with since you're 16, and the mind's kind of going oh, am I settling too fast, this and that. And so we worked really well, I think, together for so long, and we're friendly again now. We weren't for a while, but we are friendly again now, which is so great.
Well, that's good.
But it kind of started to fall apart in that last probably a good 12 months of things slowly deteriorating.
So what are the lessons that you learned from that relationship, seeing it was during that time of your formative stage in your life?
As far as things that we definitely, just as people, I think both shaped each other a lot. He definitely has shaped, I think, who I am today. I don't know if he would know that, but I hope so. I'm pretty happy with, I think, the way I am, and I hope.
Yeah, you're a
he would be
delight,
happy
Taylee.
with that. Oh, thank you so much. I'm just fishing, guys. Just tell me more. No, but I would say, as far as from the actual, like what I learned about relationships and that sort of thing, I definitely took away from that. How do I put this in a way when I've just been like, it was great and we learned so many good things, but not to be like a bit of a pushover, for the want of a nicer way of putting it. I think I tried earlier days I've always been a people pleaser, definitely. And I very much became that way, I think, I was that way through most of our relationship. And, I think it's good to want to make the other person happy, but, remembering to sort of put yourself first and not be afraid to, disagree with them and that sort of thing. I think younger years I definitely was. I just wanted to be in a happy, lovey relationship, and so I didn't want to stir the pot in any way.
Yeah, that's
which is not the case now. I've learned. You live and you learn.
Yeah, that's right. And it's good to set those boundaries, and that's pretty switched on, so young, working out, okay, well, I was going too far in the other direction with the people pleasing. Now it's time to work out what those boundaries are. So what is, before COVID and this round of dating for you, before we went into COVID, what has your dating experience been overall, Taylee? Do you have some saucy stories? Do you have some fun stories, your favourite date? What have you been through dating-wise?
Look, I probably would have a bit of a mix of all of the above, but a lot of mine I went from that sort of that first boyfriend, not really too much time in between, to my last boyfriend, who I was then with for 9 years.
Wow.
So about 8-9 years, somewhere in between. There were a few. I say a few, that's the biggest understatement of the year. There were lots of on and offs, a lot of on and offs in that time. Not really most of the time, to the point where we would be seeing other people. It was just like a bit of a breather. How do we feel about this? Let's reflect on whether we want to, keep trying to make this work. But there was definitely one time in that where I know we both did a bit of dating. And I definitely did. And there were, I would say some good stories that kind of came out of that one. Definitely not saucy ones, I wouldn't say. Probably ones I would rather forget. And you actually wouldn't believe it. There was, messy, hard to put this into a short story, but more or less I started seeing someone in that brief time. Was never going to go anywhere at all. It was just a little bit of fun. When I eventually got back with my boyfriend, we did the potentially a mistake, but the whole all cards on the table. This is what happened, why we were not together. And I told him about this guy. Go ahead, 3 years later, my boyfriend at the time goes on a trip to Greece, and he just goes silent on me for a few days. And I'm back here in Australia going what is going on? Why is it? And then when I did hear from him, he was being a bit short with me. Turns out this guy I was seeing in between, when I stopped seeing my boyfriend, was on holiday with my boyfriend. They had met up through mutual friends. The guy I'd seen in between didn't know who my boyfriend was. My boyfriend knew who he was. And they were stuck on a holiday together, basically. Both being well, I know you've been there and I know you've been there. And it was
awkward.
Awful. I know. So you're just messy.
Yeah.
Very messy. But so then I suppose I'd been with my last my ex for about on and off, but a 9-year stint. And then in January this year we kind of finally called it quits, and then it was a bit of very brief, not even dating. I was just sort of going out a bit, and there were a couple of kisses and stuff here and there. And then COVID hit. So fun times.
Yeah, fun times. So I know that Max Garcia Underwood has always, you know, his heart has always been, he's going to hate me for saying this, but his heart has always beaten quickly for you. He fucking loves you.
Oh, now I feel bad. I haven't spoken to him in so long, so I need to.
And so does Vince, obviously.
Oh, gosh, you haven't done a podcast with him, have you?
No, not yet. No, we haven't. I haven't even, no, we haven't. But, yeah, it's interesting when we were building the show that was at the Fringe this year, and Vince and I and the very early stages were with Max as well. And we were talking about our different dating experiences. And remember when they did their show, what was it called? Tears, Beers and whatever?
And Beautiful Girls.
Yeah. So you were one of the stories in that show, I'm pretty sure.
I was a story in that show, I know. And then I took my boyfriend to see the show.
Which story were you again? I'm trying to remember what story you were.
I don't know exactly what they were. Was it about like the stages of grieving after a relationship?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
It was something like that. And I know I was happy with whatever story I was. I wasn't the anger one. No, I think it was just a bit, I don't want Max to hate me for saying this either. It's fine. You brought it up. No, I think it was we both met each other at a time where we'd both come out of broken up with our long-term and first partners.
Mm-hmm.
And so we definitely like instantly bonded very much over that, and then spent a lot of time together and all of that. And they're definitely like later on there were moments where it was a bit romantic, but in the lead up to that, when I suppose he would have been writing the show, we were very much like, we were really good friends, and I think support for each other through that. And I think from memory, how I kind of came into that story was meeting, someone for the first time after the ex.
Yes, okay.
That just makes you feel a bit like alive again.
Yes. You guys would make very aesthetically pleasing babies. Just a side note, you and Max.
Well, I think I actually said to him years ago, like one of these, if we're not married at like 50 or something,
friends.
Yeah, then maybe we should get married.
I think I don't know, he might be single. Hey, he might need to get his members ready for baby situation.
Time's a ticking for me.
Oh man. Oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's roughly kind of what the story was.
Right. So moving on from relationships, seeing as you've had two relationships that have been quite substantial lengthwise and obviously therefore substantially serious, do you believe in happy ever after, and what does that look like for you?
Oh, dear God, I hope so. I really hope so. I think I am. Like, I'm definitely, yes, I think I do. Whether I believe that is necessarily like with someone, though, I don't know. Like, I think I would like to think everyone does have their happily ever after. If that can be with a romantic partner, amazing. Mm-hmm. If not, I feel like I know I have family members and stuff that, never got married and, so like they've got friends that kind of are that role for them. Like they go, I've found the love of my life in my best friend and stuff. And you look at them and you go, that's amazing. And then, they don't have kids and they're going traveling the world, not at the moment, Corona, and spending that money. And you're kind of like, well, that looks like an all right life as well.
Yeah.
But I would love to find a happy ever after with a partner. We'll see. I tend to settle with people like fairly fast. So
yeah, well, it's because you're an amazing woman. Like, men don't want you to get away, Taylee. That's what it is.
Let's go with that. Yeah. That's what it is, Carla. You got me.
That's exactly what it is. So would you say from the 2 relationships that you've had and the dating that you've experienced, do you have a list of deal breakers?
Oh, I think, I've actually, another person that hopefully doesn't listen to this, like I have started sort of just recently seeing someone a little bit. And so I've found myself trying to work out if I do have a list of deal breakers. I think some obvious ones, like I don't think, the main one, like I want them to be kind. Like that's just the biggest thing. You want them to be kind. I ideally want someone I can have a good laugh with, not that doesn't sort of take life or themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
I would say that's someone that takes themselves a bit too seriously all the time. That's probably a deal breaker for me. Even if they are a lovely person, they make you feel great. Like I need it to be able to be light at times as well.
Yeah.
I think I like a bit of smarts. There was like a brief period where I did sort of see someone that was beautiful. He was very, very attractive. I wasn't able to hold a conversation with him as well.
Yes, yeah. You're being very diplomatic there, Taylee.
Oh, I know. I feel really bad saying, because he was really lovely as well, but wasn't able to hold a good conversation with him. And I think that might have just been different interests and stuff as well.
Yeah,
like
sure.
you got to have something, I guess, in common. With that one, it was really, I was just like, I think you are very attractive, so I'm going to let's keep dating for a bit.
I don't know about you, Taylee, but I feel like I have to connect with somebody on
Communication level.
a few different levels, and if I can't have a conversation with you, mate, I'm not going to get excited about wanting to see you naked. Like,
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Maybe once.
yeah. Look,
maybe one time. But I might not get excited the second time.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Tell your younger self what you've learnt along the way thus far. What advice would you give her, your younger self, in these shoes now? Is there anything you would suggest to your younger self to do differently? I certainly recall you talking about not being a pushover and people pleaser.
Yeah.
I can relate to that too, especially in my younger relationships. But is there anything else in mind?
There would be, I suppose some of it probably does stem from that a bit, but I would say actions speak, like remembering actions speak louder than words. Yeah. And I think a lot of the times I've kept sort of sticking with things and going back to people because the words are exactly what you're hoping for and what you want to hear. And just going, okay, the actions aren't matching right now, but they'll follow. And, sometimes they do for a bit. And then 6 months later, you're back to square one and it's happening all over again. And I think I would just have to, it's a bit of a gut thing as well. I guess that whole trust your gut. Sometimes you just don't want to though. You're going, I know I'm probably going to get myself into the same situation, but it would be great if this works out. So I want to just keep trying.
Yeah,
but,
it's the hope and holding on to holding on to the hope and faith of the possibility that the words that they are saying are legit. And it's kind of, in your gut, you're right, Taylee, in your gut when the words are words, but you just...
The actions just don't follow through,
and you just holding on to, but I'll give them another chance. I'll give them another chance. I'll give them another chance.
Yeah, and when they're people, when it's someone you love and people that are, otherwise, they're good people, it can be really hard. But I think, for me, definitely with probably each of my relationships and even, people that I've just dated, timing, I think actually it's so annoying that it is a thing, but I think it actually is a pretty important thing. You have to be in similar spots in your life and, wanting the same things.
Well, that's one you have covered beautifully in the show.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
relate to that
There's
one
a
too.
chapter in the show about how timing is a catch. And you could both be single, but one of you may still want to be out there spreading their seed, and the other one might be, no, I'm ready to get married, have kids, let's do this. And it's just timing. It's different. It's not that either person is wrong in their journey. It's just a different
trajectory.
stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I would cry a lot in your show. I feel like you're going to have to, when you can finally put this show on, you're going to have tissue boxes at the door.
I think that's a good, yeah, look, it goes on a, as do all my shows, it goes on a pretty big roller coaster, but we make you feel good at the end. So once you've hit some low stuff, you leave feeling good. You leave feeling good.
You've had a bucket of ice cream, but then you're going to have champagne at the end. It's great.
Yes, yeah. So speaking of the catches in the show, so I let the audience in on a couple of my catches, and the biggest catch that has been a repeated theme, and I've mentioned it probably nearly every episode of the podcast too, is that all my boyfriends that I've had as an adult, and this was before COVID, I use too much toilet paper. So that's a
what
common
you
complaint.
That you use too much toilet paper?
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you use too much, not enough is what I'd say.
Yeah.
That's so, well, I want to know if you do. Like, that's funny and weird in itself. But also weird that each one is comfortable bringing that up.
Yeah, well, because we'd go through so much toilet paper. Like, they'd be like, where the fuck are these rolls of toilet paper going? What are you doing? Are you, what's happening to them? And now I've just made sure that I've got a subscription to Who Gives a Crap, so I don't have to worry about if at any time in the future.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I've got one too.
At any
God.
time in the future I get into a relationship, I'll just be the toilet paper in charge master, and we won't have any issues.
You must have freaked at the start of this whole pandemic when the shelves were just like, you could not get toilet paper, because it didn't even Who Gives a Crap, like when they were just sold out, like you could not get any TP.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm sorry, this must be a tough time for you.
Oh, I'm fine.
Jesus.
I'm fine. My subscription's good. I'm good. Don't worry about me, Taylee. I've got enough toilet paper. I'm good.
We'll get through this.
We need to get
through it together.
Yeah. So speaking of the catches, have you had in your two relationships, has there been any feedback or catches from the dudes that you've been with, like, for example, the toilet paper thing with me, or is there a theme that has been the same in both of your partners that has made you go, oh my God, okay, I don't want that again?
Yeah, I reckon there has been. This makes me sound awful saying it as well. But I think I've heard definitely my last, and I'm pretty sure the first as well in some sort of capacity. I've got a lot of close girlfriends as well, but I tend to click with guys very well, and I've often gotten quite close to their friends.
Yeah.
Close as in friendly.
Yes.
I said that sounded terrible. But it's definitely concerned them, where they've definitely sort of pulled me up on it and had to sort of question and go, is this definitely just you being friends with my mates and what's going on? And others have, sometimes it's been, I think, pulled up to the point where they've said, like, you need to, definitely my last relationship, like, I'm actually not comfortable with how close you are with so-and-so, which is kind of awkward to hear at the time, but you also, you don't want to make your partner feel uncomfortable.
Correct.
So take a step back. I don't know. I don't think I'm someone that's, like some people are naturally flirty as well. I don't think I come off that way. I think I'm just really buddy with them.
Yeah.
Personable.
I think that's a creative thing though, Taylee. Yeah. Like, I've got mainly guy friends. I've obviously got girlfriends, but I've mainly got the ratio is mainly guy friends, because I feel like guys cut through the shit, just tell you how it is, and that's where I feel most comfortable. And there has definitely been in my relationships, because a few of my closest mates are dudes, and the boyfriends that I've had have been like, so you need to make a decision. You're either friends with me or in a relationship with me. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Sorry. I've had this mate for like 20 years. This is how it is. This is how it is. And I would never be like, there's been exceptions to the rule where, like, in past relationships for me, a boyfriend's ex-girlfriend will still be hanging around and want to be in the mix. That's a different story. That's weird and a different story. But I don't know. I value my people. I've definitely gone through my life and made sure that I've got quality, not quantity, and I'm not willing to part with my people. And I'm Italian. I'm affectionate. I hug and kiss my friends. That's what I am. And if
you'd be a blur.
and if the person that I'm with doesn't see that I'm a tactile person and I show my love to the people that matter to me in a tactile way, then it's just not going to work.
Yeah, that's it. It's kind of important that they get that as well. I reckon I have, when you were just explaining that, I was like, I've probably crossed the boundary there, because I reckon I have kept exes in the picture as well. And so I had to be like, sorry, I'm just like texting the ex while I'm there. Really fair to be like, I'm not comfortable with that. Like, I really, in hindsight, should have been more a bit understanding.
But it's different for everyone, Taylee. We work out our own boundaries, what we will and won't accept, you know.
Yeah. In that case, he did not accept it, so which is fair.
So, when it comes to heartbreak, do you have any tips or advice to our listeners on how to move through that stage of your life? We've had some very interesting responses from various guests.
Very much so. Very good.
So it'd be nice to hear from you what your take is on surviving heartbreak and getting through that.
Oh, wow. I feel like I needed lots of advice for mine. Badly heartbroken. I think it's really just happened the once sort of for me, probably over a very long period of time.
Yeah.
But I think, I definitely I draw on other people for advice and things. I don't know if anyone's mentioned this on your podcast, but Zoe Foster Blake.
Oh my God, I love her.
In front of us.
Yeah, the book is holding up the laptop.
Breakup Boss.
Yeah. Oh, it's love. It's love. I've got Breakup Boss too.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, because that made my life so much easier.
Yes.
A girlfriend gave it to me with, some chocolates and a bottle of wine, that sort of thing. I was like, look, I'll give it a go. But I know, what people are going to tell you and what you're meant to be doing, but it's just hard to do sometimes. Yes. But reading sort of some of the process behind it and what she had been through, like her past breakups and stuff, there was something extra in it that felt, I think I took it on board more than, any other sort of self-help thing I might have read, or, you see a little quotes and stuff online and people tag you and things, and you're like, that's all well and good, but that's not making me feel any better.
Yeah.
This kind of did. I went and saw a relationships counselor, but just on my own.
Yeah.
When I was really sort of struggling with it all and still going through that sort of process of Matt, maybe it'll still work, and maybe,
I've done
that sort of thing. And, and that's really good for kind of talking things through in a real matter of fact way. And, they're really honest in saying, in some cases it can, but let's put all the facts out and work out if that's even the right thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it wasn't something that came naturally, moving on from heartbreak. I needed lots of support from other people and other sources. I spent a lot of time with like my parents again, who I'm quite close with anyway, but through that I was very much like every night, Mum, I'm coming over for dinner. I'm probably just going to sleep at yours tonight now. Is that okay? Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of move myself back in a bit.
That's lovely that you've had that option. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so lucky that I actually had the option of doing that as well. So yeah, that worked out well for me. So yeah, just I guess really surrounding yourself by and not being afraid to get that extra help as well. Like you know, any sort of, I think some of that stigma is going anyway, but you know, if anyone that might be like, oh, I don't know about seeing a psychologist or whatever, like, oh my God, it's the best.
Yeah,
it is.
Like they just listen to your problems. It's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Acknowledging the need for it and sitting in that space. Obviously, you know, it's not good if you stay in that space, but you know, sitting in that space and feeling and processing and grieving and actually allowing yourself to be there so that you can wake up one day and it's that little bit easier, or you don't feel quite so sad, or you don't think of that person each waking moment. You know, it might be, oh
my gosh, on that, there is a Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love it.
It's called it is the best. This is the other thing I would suggest for heartbreak. It's called I Forgot That You Existed. It's the best. It's like little, like light and boppy, but like go for a walk on a sunny day, put that song on, or go for a little jog or whatever with that song on. It is just the best.
I'm going to write that down actually. Hang on, Taylee, give me a moment. I'm going to write that down. Let me write that down. What was that song again?
I Forgot That You
Existed.
Oh.
It's so good.
Yep. I'm just writing it down.
Me too.
You are welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for that, Taylee.
Lovely.
Oh, no worries.
So you've actually given our listeners some great advice. Go seek the help that they need. Read as much of Zoe Foster Blake's books as you can. Fucking love her. Love her. And listen to Taylor Swift's I Forgot That You Existed. I think that's excellent advice, Taylor.
Practical steps. Yeah.
Very good.
That's the recovery.
Yeah, that's the recovery package. You should start sending out, like, to people that have been broken up with or have broken up, a care package with those instructions. With those things. You can make a business out of that, man.
I know. It sounds like I'm working for Spotify or something like that. It's like you need to download this podcast, like get this book and this song. And
there doesn't Zoe also have a breakup playlist? I'm pretty sure she does. Yeah, on Spotify. I'm pretty sure she's together.
Very smart.
Yeah, I reckon that was one of the steps in the book. It was like when you get to chapter 3, go for a walk, put this playlist on. Yeah, I reckon I did listen to it.
Yeah.
Had that, what is it? That Dancing on My Own song, like the remix version. That's a good one. After you've played Taylor Swift, put that one on. It's like upbeat as well. It's good. Good fun.
So good. I love it so much. So what would be the biggest lesson that you have learnt overall in your romantic journey? I know we've spoken about the lessons specifically in relationships, but romantic journey, and that could even be, you know, self-love stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be relationship, dating based.
Yeah. Probably, which again kind of ties into the other things that I've said, but don't just settle for anything. I mean, gosh, I might eat my words in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. Damn it, Taylor, you should have just settled. You would have been fine. But no, like I don't want to be just happy enough. Like I want to be content and wake up happy every day.
Yep.
And yeah, I think don't just settle and be afraid that you're not going to find that.
Yeah. Do you think that starts with yourself first though, Taylor?
Yes, and I hate that it does. As someone that's like constantly jumped from person to person, I've always had this no, you need to I should be single for a while and, you know, go, I don't know, like Sex and the City style, go find myself somewhere, eat, pray, love. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But I think it is
as you've got older, do you feel that that's become a bit more paramount as you've got?
I think so.
Choose?
Yeah, definitely. And like, to be honest, I'm probably not even like, there are still things sort of within myself that I definitely want to work on. I mean, everyone's got that, but like, yeah, there are certain things where, I'll wake up and just not feel comfortable in myself and not be as confident as I want to be. And I go through real phases of that. And I think when I'm at my best, I notice how much better the relationships I've been in are. So I'm kind of like, I want to be consistently, as much as possible, in that space where I'm feeling confident and happy and good, because I feel like until that's happening quite consistently, then I'm probably not going to be in a great relationship, because from experience, that's what happens, and it's not great when I'm feeling like shit.
Yeah, which brings me to actually going out, getting that help, or reading those books, going for the walk, listening to Taylor Swizzle, and getting back to equilibrium.
Exactly.
We're not going to bring in the right people or the right juju, the right energy, because we're not there. Yeah. Makes sense to me.
So it'd be so much easier if we could just find someone to like complete us, though. Like, that would be much easier. Someone make me happy instead.
So if you could wave a wand and get everything you ever wanted, what would that look like?
Oh my goodness. Well, I would be on Broadway with you. I would not be sitting here in mum and dad's room. I am. I've got my little, like, my niece and stuff have just flown in from Sydney, so I'm at mum and dad's place. So literally I'm sitting in mum and dad's room right now. No, if I could wave a magic wand and have everything, I would just want, like, I mean, it'd be great to be like, oh yeah, someone that's, ticks all the right boxes and, has this and that and has an amazing house, an amazing boat and money and stuff. Great if I can literally have everything, but I will be happy enough if I'm just waking up happy every day. Ideally, I would like a partner. I would like to be doing that with someone. Just being happy. I feel like that's the main thing that literally every single person would say. But it is like, it's just what everyone wants, I think. But then if you can have those extra things and the boat and stuff, then great.
And the yacht.
Which in this hypothetical is the case.
And the butlers.
So I will do that, and I'll be on Broadway.
Yes.
While hubby's at home looking after the children.
Yeah, that's great. And a cook and a butler. And like somebody to lay out your clothes for you the night before, so you don't have, like, I'd love that.
Imagine. I'm going to update my Hinge profile with like I've changed my mind about my what were they like? Yeah, your red flags and stuff. Like, no, there are certain things that I will need.
Yes. This is my criteria.
Must be a chef. Must have boat.
Yeah, must have a boat with a full functioning staff, just FYI. Yeah. And a boat has to be, you have to put the measurements of the boat.
Yes.
It can't be a tinny.
Things in life. Just the little things.
We're not wanting much. No. We're not wanting much, Tony.
It's not too much to ask.
On that amazing note, we will let you get back to your family that has come to visit from Sydney. Thank you so much for your time. It has been a joy. So nice to see your face, hear your voice.
I know, likewise. And meet you and see your face again. And I know, it's been such a weird time. And I'm so excited to actually see your show when
it comes
there
back
in the flesh, able to not be ruined by Corona.
Oh, we're excited too, Taylee.
Oh, bring it on.
That prospect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have a lovely afternoon, beautiful, and we will speak soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Catchalorette, with friends near and far, from heartache to catfish and sex toys. The Catchalorette and friends. See you next time, if you dare.
Bank of the West is offering the 1% for the Planet checking account. It gives back 1% of the account's net revenue to the planet at no cost to you. There's no monthly service charge with any deposit per statement, and there's no minimum balance required. The 1% for the Planet checking account, only from Bank of the West. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.